off. This is the pre-dawn. Down here, you may see my knee. There's my blanket. And these little things here, oh, these are my buttons. Now, you may not have seen anybody else's buttons before. These are my buttons. The reason why you don't see other people's buttons is because most of the time everybody else is very, very attached to their buttons and they don't happen to take them off. Now, I don't actually remember when and where I got these buttons. I'm pretty sure I was born button free. When I came out of my mum, I was pretty well carrying no baggage, no buttons, no nothing. Just a little cord, and they took that away from me pretty quickly. But somehow, over the next few years of my life, I went through situations, I went through experiences, and as I did, I picked up these buttons. And as I say, you wouldn't have seen anybody else's buttons because most people are very attached to them. And maybe you think you don't have any buttons because you haven't seen your own buttons. But you'll often hear yourself say, and you'll often hear other people say, that guy really pushes my buttons, or stop pushing my buttons. And the buttons can be a destructive thing or an annoying thing. Now, because I'm no longer so attached to my buttons, even though I picked them up over a long period through life, what I do is I come down to the beach here every morning, put on my little red blanket, and I put my buttons down in the sand. Now, what I find is it's virtually impossible to spend any time in meditation or prayer whilst I've actually got my buttons. So I put my buttons down, and mind you, I've never counted my buttons, but what I find is that, you know, I put down my big handful of buttons, and there might be a couple of hundred buttons there. I spend some time in prayer and meditation, usually an hour, and then I get to pick up my buttons and go back home, and I'm not really sure what happens. Maybe some of them fall in the sand, maybe some of them get buried, taken away by crabs, wind blows them away, whatever happens. But I'm pretty sure that when I go to pick up my buttons, there's a few missing. And because I do this every day, I seem to have the same experience every day. I put down my buttons, every day I pick up my buttons, and the handful of buttons seems to get lighter. I'm not sure what it is, and as I say, I've never counted them, and sometimes there might be just one button missing, sometimes there might be 2 or 3 buttons missing. But certainly over the practice of spending time every day in prayer and meditation, there seems to be the pattern. Every time I do this, I get less and less buttons. And I get less and less chances to actually use that excuse and say that guy is pushing my buttons, because I've got less buttons to be able to push. It's a very interesting phenomena. Very, very fascinating. So I'll invite you to actually take your buttons off, put them down somewhere, just spend some time, prayer, meditation, clearing your mind, and then pick your buttons up again. And just see if it works. See if there happens to be a couple less buttons when you walk away. Maybe you'll simply find that you've got the same number of buttons, but you're just not so attached to them anymore, and you can put them down more frequently. I put mine down every day. Some people never put theirs down. But I certainly tell you that having less buttons means less people are able to control you, because they can't push your buttons if you don't have those buttons there. Enjoy your day. 1, 2, 3. Nah, forget it. just ignore them for a while, and when I'm ready I'll pick them up and go about my day. Hope you can do the same.